Welcome, Governor.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. We will go ahead and start the meeting at 2:01 p.m. This is the Rotary eClub of Florida, and we will go ahead and proceed. Welcome to the Governor and the Assistant Governor, Stephanie Furna. We have John Stockamon, and his camera just died. We will just go ahead and proceed. We will do the four-way test at the end. And Governor, go ahead and get started. We'll welcome you, and then people will watch this. Typically, people watch the video online, and people will come on as they want. We have people all over the world that watch this, and I will also, if this camera will allow me, send it out live stream.
Not a problem. That sounds like an awesome opportunity. So can you all hear me well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I charged my AirPods just to make sure. Very well. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. This will be now my 24th visit to a Rotary Club of Central Florida. You happen to have one of the most unique clubs because you are online, and as you said, more people will see it, perhaps than even any of the visits that I get to go to. So I'm going to get started. First and foremost, thanking Stephanie also for being here as our AG. Dr. Alstead, thank you so much again for the opportunity also to be here and connect with all of you. And John, who is part of the audience right now, and everyone else who will join in or will be connecting and watching this at a different time. So I bring you a very simple message. First and foremost, I am super excited to be serving with Jennifer Jones, the first woman in the role of president of Rotary International. And up until just a few days ago, I was going to say the only woman, but now we're going to have another great lady, Stephanie Urchik. She is going to be president in 2024, 2023, when Sonia Labasco will be serving as your district governor. Again, exciting times. This leads to one of the top points that I want to make, and I want to start with is Rotary is evolving. It is not changing. Quite often people ask me, well, why is it changing? Rotary is not changing. Change is a harsh word to use. I'm sure, you all have heard of change management, and that's something that people are never really happy to deal with. Change is hard. Change is difficult. Change produces a shock. Some people have a visceral emotional reaction to having to deal with change, but we are evolving. Every year, Rotary evolves. Every 10 years, Rotary evolves. This is not the same Rotary Club that many people joined 10 years ago like me. I've been in Rotary now 13 years. This is not the same Rotary Club of 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years ago. At one point, there would not be, we have right now two ladies in our audience who are connected by now on Zoom. It would have been just men. Right now, Rotary is experiencing probably one of the most exciting times ever. Truly, because again, so many other people have paved the way to what we have right now. We have a highly multicultural, very multi-generational Rotary. We have people from the greatest generation. We have people from the baby boomers, from Generation X, from the millennials, from Gen Z. So it is time for us to finally acknowledge that Rotary is growing into what Paul Harris envisioned over 117 years ago, and that is a way to bring people together and unite under the Rotary flag, regardless of our nationality, regardless of our religion, regardless of the way we think and do things. This is Rotary, and Rotary today in the 21st century is the most vibrant we've ever had. But to have a vibrant club, you also need to have good membership. Now, membership is one thing that every district governor before me has brought up. However, I'm not going to beat the dead horse, so to speak. I'm going to bring you some strategy, something you can actually tangibly act on. I'm a marketing strategist by trade, so the opportunity to speak to you here is that I want to give you a pathway to building membership with something I call the four-way challenge. Number one is bring a family member to Rotary. A family member is a great person to bring because you already know, they know you, hopefully they trust you. And if they do trust you, they will come here gladly and say, you know, I want to know what my family member is doing whichever day you meet, however you meet. Second person I want to ask you to bring is a friend. Same thing. A friend is someone that typically you would trust, that you would invite to your own home. So why not invite a friend to Rotary? Again, we enjoy so much fellowship, goodwill, fun. Don't keep this from your friends. Don't keep it from your family members either. Third person I want you to bring to Rotary. And by the way, it's not an either or, it's I want you to bring 4 people to Rotary, but there's also a wild card I will bring up in a moment. Third person I want you to bring is a coworker. Even if you're a consultant and you work with another consultant, that's a coworker, so to speak. Bring that person over. Show them what Rotary is doing for you. And by that same token, the fourth person would be a client or a customer. What better way to build a relationship with someone that will be profitable for many years to come than to actually bring them to Rotary and show them that we live by the 4-way test. Most people that I brought into Rotary who didn't know about the 4-way test are like, wow, how come I never heard of this before? Well, they were never invited to Rotary to begin with. So now that they're part of Rotary, they know that you're among like-minded people and people you can trust. So those are the 4 people for the 4-way challenge. But the wild card is that if you have any of those people, let's say you invited a family member and they just don't have the time, they don't have the interest. Well, the wild card is bring a first responder or a veteran. Bring someone who has actually served our country or our community at the local level. Think of them as someone who would add quality to the mix. So it's not hard. I actually asked my wife, after 6 years of being a member of my own Rotary Club, I asked her if she would come and join and sit through a meeting. Soon after, she became the club secretary. Then soon after that, too, she became elected club president within 2 years. So again, the opportunity to connect with someone that is close to you is what leads to this opportunity. So enough about membership. Now I want to talk to you a little about something that is a little bit more tangible. Again, we can ask a lot of people to come join Rotary, but what better way than to ask them to come join you maybe at a community event or a service project. That leads me to community engagement, which is the second most important thing this year. We have made a partnership with the Second Harvest Food Bank, with the collaboration of Dick Harris, who's our community service chair for the district. We have engaged them. We have set a number of dates every month between now and the end of this Rotary year, where we will come and join together. Right now, the next one is coming up on Friday, and you just 6 days from 1 to 4. I would like to ask any of you who are watching this to go ahead and check your email, because there's been already a few emails that went out. They have a link. Also, you can do it through DACDB. Please join us. We need 40 people to have a nice big group. That's actually the limit of people we can have. The last time we did it last month, it was 35 people. But curiously enough, there were 30 Rotarians and 5 non-Rotarians. One of our very own members from the district, Romel from the Lake Buena Vista Club, invited 5 family members to come and join in the food packing event. How awesome is that? Not only did he live by the 4-way challenge where he's bringing family, but now he's bringing them to these events where people got to know them, people got to collaborate with them. And also these people are now considering membership, because now they get to see what Romel does when he's out there volunteering with his friends. Because again, at the end of the day, we all are friends in Rotary. This plays out into my goal of 10,000 volunteering hours. If there's one difficult thing in marketing, is to tell a story without having a story to tell. I've been doing this for 27 years. I've been working with so many companies that want to toot their own horn, and they often say, well, what do we toot our own horn about? So again, in order for us to have all of these stories to tell, we need to be doing some work. I want to see Rotarians this year volunteer at Second Harvest, but I want to see you volunteering in other things that are either Rotary or non-Rotary. You're a Rotarian 24/7. So don't hold back. If you're volunteering at your church or temple, you're volunteering with some community event in your own residential community. We have places like Avalon Park and Celebration and Metro West, where they do all of these community activities. If you do something for that community, you are a Rotarian doing volunteer work. Track those hours. Please communicate that to your club president, because again, we want to know what story to tell. That plays into the third section of my goals for this talk. Bill Pieper has graciously agreed several months ago to be the district public image chair. He's someone that I value, and his advice is truly invaluable. Someone who did so much for Orlando and Orange County by putting Orlando on the map with the Visit Orlando initiative when he was president of the Orlando Orange County Convention and Visitors Bureau. He's now bringing that magic. We're telling the story of how is it that Rotarians make an impact. Well, if we have a four-way challenge that brings at least 4, hopefully 5 or 6 people into Rotary, these people volunteer and they help us build up so many hours, 10,000 hours at least. And I'm sure we could do we probably already do 10,000, and we may be even closer to 20 or even 30,000. But if we can actually quantify this so that we abide by the four-way test, is it the truth? We can then tell the story, we can put some effort behind it. We can, with a lot of confidence, state to all of Central Florida that we have been making an impact. We're not just feeding people with the, I actually increased the 1 million meal to 1.5 million meals, which is why I pushed so hard for this effort. But not just 1.5 million meals. We want to also have 10,000 hours of volunteering. And then we can break those down into categories. And then now we have a story to tell. Now someone like Bill Pieper and Hector Ceballos, who's our district social media chair, they have something they can actually share with Central Florida. On that note, we built a website called RotaryCentralFlorida.org 3 years ago. It happened right as the pandemic was starting, so its rollout it's been effective, but it has not been as publicized. I want you to know that we built this website to speak outwardly. I have to, make a strong point about why we speak outwardly. We've been talking to each other, almost 1,700 members of Rotary in Central Florida. We've been speaking to ourselves. For so long, it's all about logging on to DACDB and engaging with DACDB. That's great. That's how you sign up for things. That's you create action. But we also have to speak to the more than 3.5 million people in Central Florida. These are the same people that ask you, oh, hey, you're going to Rotary. Oh, what's with the pin? Oh, what's with the shirt with the logo? These people are constantly asking, what is Rotary? Well, we created a website that actually is a community information center about Rotary in Central Florida. What that allows us to do is to no longer have to refer them back to DACDB or send them, to your website, because now, some clubs have great websites. Some clubs don't have a website. Now you can actually say, you know what? There's a place where you can send them. It's going to have a cohesive message. It's going to tell the story of who we are. We're always adding new content. There's even a directory there so you can see who's who in each of the clubs and who are the district leaders. But again, if we don't have something to tell the story about, there's no story. So keep that in mind. Those are my 3 main points. But I'm now, as I wind down to the end of my presentation, I want to invite you to go ahead and take part in one of the more than 100 fellowships. Rotary fellowships are a great way to cross-pollinate beyond your club. When you have your own club and you meet regularly, you all know each other, you develop friendship, you have that fellowship. But quite often I see people that never venture into any of the other clubs. If you don't venture into other clubs, then you're not really going to get the full benefit of Rotary. So I want you to think of fellowships as a place where birds of a feather can flock together. When they flock together, they do wonderful things. They may be enjoying a drink. We have a beer fellowship. We have a wine fellowship. We have a whiskey fellowship, and there's more coming up. There's a golf fellowship. There's a pilots fellowship that several members in our district belong to. These are great opportunities for you to exchange ideas. Think of when a great example of this is when you go to RLI. And by the way, RLI is coming up in a week and a half or so. Please think about going to RLI if you've never been to the Rotary Leadership Institute. It is a great opportunity for any new members to go in and get immersed in the knowledge that really wraps the Rotarian around. By the same token, we have also the Vibrant Club workshop coming up on the 27th. That is a different focus than RLI. RLI centers around the individual, the Rotarian, and builds the Rotarian up. Vibrant Club workshop will be happening at the Nova Southeastern University on Saturday, August 27th from 8 a.m. till 12:15. And this is actually for the club as a unit. This is where you build the club up as a unit. So if you're the president or secretary, treasurer, any of the chairs, this is a place where you want to be so you can actually engage and interact. Going back to what I was talking about, fellowships, that interaction is where the magic of Rotary happens. When you are engaging other people, you learn an idea, they learn an idea. I always love seeing this. I cannot attribute it to someone that I can recall as an author, but I heard this, I saw this poster actually that said, if you have an apple, or if you have an idea and I have an idea and you exchange it, it's different than having an apple and having an apple exchange for people. That's one apple from one side, another one, you still end up with one apple. But when you have an idea and you share that idea with someone else, you both end up with two ideas. So imagine going to one of these events where you get to interact with people and you draw ideas from each. You come out of there with a richness about Rotary, and you can bring that back to your club and help make it a vibrant club, which again is what we all should strive to be. Last but not least, I want to thank all of the district leaders, all of the presidents, everyone who's been working hard to make sure that as we hit this reset button after the pandemic, this is probably the first year when we get to do so much more without masks and really to engage opportunity out there. So think about participating in more district events. I think we all had enough of the masks, and we all had enough of sitting at home behind the Zoom screen. I know this is how you meet, but the point is that for clubs that don't really meet on Zoom, they kind of got a little tired because they no longer can go out and hug each other, smile at each other, have a cup of coffee with each other. Try to get out, because what happens at the club is just the business of Rotary. This is where you meet on a regular basis. What happens outside of the club, when you actually roll up your sleeves and you get your hands dirty, or you at least, have that little drop of sweat dropping from your forehead because you're out helping in the community, that's where the magic happens. So the message is simple. Imagine Rotary. That is our theme for this year. Everything that I gave you in the last 15 minutes or so, I should encourage you to imagine Rotary in a whole new light. Find inspiration in the fact that Jennifer Jones is our president. Find inspiration in the opportunity of not having to always meet on Zoom and being able to get out there and do something for your community. My own theme for this year is onward and upwards. This theme is based on the 8 district governors for Florida. When we first got together 3 years ago, we all had a little bit of space fever, and you can tell I'm almost speaking to you from orbit. We wanted to communicate something that before we even heard of the theme from Rotary International, we wanted to rally behind something that gets us motivated. And so this space theme, our logo, each of the stars you see actually over there, yeah, there we go, represents one of the 8 district governors for Florida. We have been working together to make sure that as we hit that reset button, we have an opportunity to really build Rotary with a whole new outcome. Imagining, again, imagination is something that is, I'll have to put a side note here and tell you, I like to think that Jennifer Jones went to Epcot and she rode that ride that has Figment, which is purple. And he's always singing imagination, right? Stephanie's going like, yeah, another one. Imagination is really one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal. Let's make sure that we imagine Rotary in whole new light. Let's make sure we get out there and take action, because at the end of the day, we're people of action. But most important, don't just be a Rotarian who attends a club. Be a Rotarian who gets out and actually does some volunteering, invites 4 to 5 great people to join their club. And by the way, if they're not into meeting online like the eClub meets, walk them over to one of the clubs. We have 44 other clubs plus yours that people can join. There's morning clubs, there's lunch clubs, and there's plenty of dinner clubs. Get them out there. Be the change you want to see in Rotary. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the time.
Andres, want to invite John and Stephanie to ask you any questions. And I have some comments on the chat too you can address.
Oh,
John?
very well.
Oh, am I first? Okay. Thank you very much, Andre. I really appreciated that talk. And so please tell me about, yes, sir. Please tell me about your background there with the moon and the earth. At first, I thought maybe you worked for NASA or something like that. What inspired you to do that background?
Well, so as I mentioned a moment ago, our 8 district governors, of which I'm one of them for Florida, we had a little bit of space fever. I think we saw a launch happen like the day before we had our very first meeting. And so we all went in there with this excitement of, you know what, the sky's the limit. And you know, now there's space, now SpaceX and all these other private space companies. And one of our district governors, Michael Kesty from 6990 in South Florida, his dad was in the Apollo program. He was one of the mission control people. And, you know, as we started talking about it, we said, you know, what a great opportunity to inspire others with a theme that everyone in Florida loves. You know, just from about any corner, even from Tallahassee, you can sometimes see the launch. You see a very faint streamer going up, but most people can see launches and they get excited about it. So we decided to have this theme built around a spaceship going up into the sky and having 8 stars representing the 8 district governors from Central Florida. Of course, we didn't want it to conflict with the theme. You know, my bow tie actually has the icons for Imagine Florida. But we figured that we could all rally behind this unified theme. We used to call ourselves the right stuff. You know, no pun intended, but again, you know, we were trying to really build ourselves up and build this fellowship at a time when we were still meeting on Zoom. I think we had only 2 meetings for the first 2 years in person, and they all, you know, we had to have masks. So again, it's just a very inspiring theme. And of course, you know, space, what's not to like about space? You know, we all have space fever this day. I just saw a couple launches on the same day, just a few days ago. How great is that? That is one of the things that makes living in Florida a true blessing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Andres, I don't know how old you are. I can probably guess, but when I was very young in the early 60s, I stood out in Plant City, almost to Tampa, and would watch the launches in our cow pasture milk when we went out to get the cows in the early morning or late evening, and would see the launches from there. And I mean, early 60s.
Oh, I got you.
And yes, that was the Apollo missions. So yes, that was the space time.
Yes, and it's fun enough. It keeps rekindling itself, you know, as the creativity of you know, now the private industry, Elon Musk and all these other people, they're and of course, you know, Jeff Bezos. I think we're going to see a lot more of this. Truly, we're going to live up to the Spaceport USA. But to answer your question, I just turned 50 in January. So, you know, certainly I know we're not used to seeing someone my age in the role of district governor. And that's fine. You know, we're trying to show everyone that, you know, everyone has a chance to be in this role. And we want to inspire more, you know, especially people in their 30s and 40s to get involved. You know, what we want to do is truly have this multi-generational environment where everybody can learn from each other. That's really, you know, it's not just about being diverse in race and or ethnicity, religions. Really, it's about all of us coming together. So once again, the space theme does connect all of us, because you saw, you know, at a different decade, but you know, we've been seeing these. And my big story with the space launches, I used to go to military school in Melbourne, and we went to see the first launch after the Challenger accident in I think it was 1988 or 1989. They took us to see it about 3.5 miles from the, so we could see the actual shuttle. And again, that was a turning point in my life. I said, I can die now. And not that I meant it, but because I got to see a launch so close and feel the rumble and just get that full experience. So what's not to like about space?
And my delayed honeymoon, I was headed to pick up my paycheck to go to the Poconos for my delayed honeymoon when I watched the explosion.
Wow.
And
yeah, I was living in Spain at that time.
And I was teaching school and took all my children outside, and my daughter was in the 3rd grade, and she was taken outside to watch the first liftoff afterwards. And so it's always, all these are very poignant in my life. But can you address some of the things I posted on the chat?
Yes, very well. So let's see, let me actually take some of these other windows in front of it. Okay, so the first one is
on the on the packings.
Okay, on weekdays and weekends for different business types and family on the packings. Okay, so yes, so we are going to be alternating Fridays and Saturdays, so that there's also an opportunity. Those tend to be the days that they're most open. There's a lot of companies and other private organizations that book time to pack, so we're not the only ones. Certainly we can work with a lot more, but they will be alternated between Fridays and Saturdays. I think starting this coming one is Friday, but then the following one will be a Saturday. Just so you know, I've reached out to the district governor for Lions International for Central Florida, Dr. Glenn Brown. Spoke with him a couple of times. We are trying to see how we can get Lions to collaborate with us, and one of the opportunities will be to have them sign up for this. We haven't hashed out the details, but Jennifer Jones, the first thing she did when she was elected to the role, she reached out to Lions and Goyanes and Optimist and said, listen, I don't know why we have all this distance between us, because at the end of the day, we're in the same business. We're in the business of service. And so I did the same thing. I tried reaching out to the Elks. I did not get a call back because I think I may have the wrong number, but I'm trying to reach out to all of these organizations and see how we can talk to each other. Maybe this year we'll get to do a few things. Maybe next year when Don Harris is governor, we'll do more. And hopefully by the time Sonia has actually rolled into the role, she will be able to reap the benefits of the seeds we're planting today.
And I've been working in my community with these organizations and the VFW.
Yes.
I have a long-standing relationship with them from having been in my business and having them as customers and being a volunteer in their businesses and their organizations. And I built a great, strong relationship with them. And then when I did the little free libraries, I started involving them with taking donations from them of books and then giving them little free library books. And so, and then with the food that I did with the food drives, and then I invited them to our health fair we did with the president and with Dr. Fauci when I did the Zoom with the president of the United States and Dr. Fauci and Mr. Imhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, when I did those Zoom calls with them and then held the health fairs, if you're familiar with that. I incorporated the VFW, the Elks Club, and our other local organizations and invited them to participate with us. And therefore kept that relationship going. And I think every club needs to do that. And if we bring them together with us, then we're not going to have that distance.
Absolutely. Again, for some reason, some people get scared of having the same logo, the two logos. At the end of the day, each of us does something different. We have different verticals, even the type of Lions, for example, they focus on vision, anything that's giving people back vision, cataracts and retina and so on. So again, I think there's room for everyone. It's like ShelterBox. I always, I'm a ShelterBox ambassador, and I've done this for now 8 years, and I still advocate for them. But I know that there's other organizations that also, connect with Rotary. There's room for everyone. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's enough help still available. So the more, the merrier. But thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to ask Stephanie. She had her hand up before I take on the next question. Yeah. So we intersperse them. Stephanie?
Okay, sorry, I'm back now. I had to go. I heard kids. You were right, Dr. O. When I said it was too quiet, it was too quiet. I had to run away. Andrés, I just want to say thank you. This is the third time that I've heard your talk, and you change it up a little bit each time. And I do love Figment. That was one of my favorite things since I was a little kid, Figment of the Imagination. But thank you. I know you're having a great year, and I hope you continue to do so.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. And thank you for the work you're doing as well, because you're being an AG. I did it for 3 years. It's not easy. So, but it is a good training for everything else that can come afterwards. So onwards and upwards.
Yep, thank you. I like it. It's something different.
Yes. All right, so I'm going to take on the next question here. Putting those hours into Rotary Showcase is valuable to add to our icon. They aren't being added. Okay, so we're kind of a little bit behind on the scorecard. We started the scorecard and then we kind of changed things around. We're going to be tracking these hours. What we'll do is ask you to just provide us a number of hours time, and what categories have been, we don't need to have the name of the Rotarian. You can always recognize a Rotarian within your club. But what we're looking for is to really get more of the club unit to be out there volunteering. So again, understanding, let's say you have 10 people who go out to Second Harvest Food Bank 1 month and you did 4 hours, well, that's 40 hours. If you did I'll give you a great example. I gave it to a few clubs already. They asked, does it count when you do a golf tournament? Absolutely. If you have 100 people that are playing golf and they go out there for 5 hours, that's 500 hours because they're fundraising. Yeah, they're having fun, but we want to be able to account for it and say, something, we had all of these hours focused on fundraising. The creativity, the imagination that we have to apply to it is what's going to help us tell the story. I'd rather take raw numbers and just bring them together, have them amalgamate, and then I can parse through them and say, okay, you know what? Here's one category that we didn't identify. I'll give you a good one. There's a lot of people who volunteer at their church or temple, okay, or mosque. Well, if I can actually track and say, something, Rotarians are giving 1,500 hours into faith-based organizations, that's a story I can tell. Do you say that every now and then they do it? Well, it's not so much. It's not as impactful. So we are going to be releasing this hopefully in the coming week, just like we're releasing also the schedule for the Vibrant Club workshop. So it is already live on DACTV, has been live for a few weeks. I just made another push. And Stephanie, you probably saw me reaching out to all of you in the AG Corps about talking to your presidents as well and making sure that they can send their president, treasurer, secretary, and foundation membership and public image chairs. So the next question I have in here is, okay, your DACTV listing of businesses and connections bio are searchable for networking purposes. Many members have been filling them out. And do it for, yes, and so do it for the ability to interact. So I'll tell you one really cool thing I learned last year is that DACTV, the way it works, I'm going to just pull it up on my own phone. The way it works on the phone is even simpler than the way it works, but it's probably 10 times more useful because I can go right now, I can go to my district and I'm going to see if I can show you this. I go to my district, then I go to clubs. I'm going to clubs, I'm going to look for the eClub real quick. Okay, here we go, eClub of Florida. There we go, I'm going to click on members. Again, the interface is super. So I'm just going to say, let's see here. I'm going to pull up John. So here's John's information very quickly. I'm not going to flash it too much because I don't want him to, if this is going to go public. But the point is that there's his, I'm covering up the information. There's his profile. You can go here and look at any person's bio. And now there's people like Dr. Reimers. She's not, she doesn't have much of a bio here, but many of you have enough information in there for someone to take action. It's a great opportunity to interact and network. Still, I want to go ahead and encourage you to continue attending any events that you can if you are able to, because this is where the magic really happens. We are planning, we brought back last year Rotary Means Business, which is a fellowship. Again, we're probably going to have another event like that. I'm going to say probably in late September, early October. So who knows? It may be a Oktoberfest themed Rotary Means Business, but it will be a great. Yeah, I see Stephanie shaking her head like, yay. So the last one we had at Hollerbacks was great. And we had that one in, I think it was June. So interacting through Rotary Means Business is another great way to build your business. I mean, many of us are still, I still hopefully have a good 15, 20, if not 25 years of activity in my businesses. So I am looking forward to attending all of this and handing out my Rotary card, but my Rotary card does say what I do. And again, it's a great way to do business with other Rotarians.
The biggest thing is being able to search for a job description is like lawyer,
Yes.
marketer. The biggest thing is finding someone out there that can market my business like you is, I've had people from other states that have needed a lawyer, and I've been able to go on, friends, relatives that have needed someone to put a website up for them, and they're in another state, and I've been able to say, okay, I trust Rotarians, and I've been able to go on DocDB and say, okay, here's I search and find a marketer out in their state. But if they don't put it in DocDB, then
Correct.
It's not going to show up.
Absolutely. This plays out very well, Dr. Roy, into the opportunity to, as we are engaging into Rotary, make sure you make full use of all the features that DocDB or even My Rotary has. Because again, you get what you put into it. And truly with this service, that is the case. So you have to be able to engage and do it with information that only you can tell people about yourself, right? So Rotary does not really go out there on the web and grab information and put it into DocDB. All the information is based on what you care to share yourself. So,
and it's not the secretary's job either.
No. That's correct. The secretary, if you need to get a login for yourself on DocDB, and even also go to My Rotary and have a login. I mean, if you get the Rotary magazine, your number is actually on the label, and you put it in and open an account, and there it's free. And that's when you actually get to interact with people, not just in your local area, but also around the world.
And back with the showcase. The showcase dumps it into the president's requirement to fill in their end of the year accomplishments, their goals. And
Correct.
So if they fill in the showcase with the hours and money spent, it's going to automatically fill in their goals. Or
right.
They get to
just,
goals.
The reason we'll be asking, we will not just depend on the showcase, is that we want to be able to get a little bit more depth to the story than just the data being input into DocDB. So for that reason, because then we are able to bring that information, plug it into our spreadsheet, and then do some ratios. We want to be able to recognize clubs for it's not about an award where you say someone is the best. That's not the intent. The intent is to recognize those who will actually have a chance to tell the world that, and the local community that, hey, we do a lot. And here's what a lot means. If you're going to have to tell the story, a lot doesn't say much. Many doesn't say much. But when you say, we had 1,000 hours out of 12 members, then, do the math, and you can tell a better story than a club with 70 people and only 300 hours. Then, I want to be able to recognize that small club that actually goes above and beyond, instead of the ones that just do the bare minimum.
The per capita, yes, per capita is very important. Yes. Well,
very well.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate the time you've spent with our club. We've got
Absolutely.
streaming. A lot of people are going to have the opportunity to watch it once it goes up on our website, which won't be long as the computer system holds out and our recording is usable. So we thank you for coming, and for our AG being here. Thank you, Stephanie. And we'll get this up and going. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Open up our mics for the 4-way test. And the 4-way test is of the things
we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Better friendships.
And will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's right.
And is it fun?
Fun.
Is it fun? There we go. Herbert Taylor. There he is.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. See ya.
All right, thank you,
too.
sir.
Bye.
Sure.